Welcome back to the Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb, one of the biggest challenges for home sellers, classic real estate catch 22, having a house to sell before they buy their next house. So, how do homeowners that need to sell their house to buy their next home have certainty that their house is actually going to sell when they want it to and when they want to move on to that other home? What do you do about that situation, Barb?
Well, Richard, it is the classic real estate catch 22. There are some people that absolutely need their net proceeds in order to purchase their next home. And a lot of people are terrified, actually, of being homeless. That's the biggest problem. I have one gentleman I'm working with right now. He's buying another home in the local area. He's got his young family, 2 dogs, and it would just be really bad to go stay in an apartment or a hotel while he's kind of wandering around trying to find his next home. So we did actually solve the problem. We got everything negotiated out. So there are ways to do it, and we know how to do it. So if you need your net proceeds, let's say you want to buy your next home, but you want to move when it's convenient for you. Part of it is negotiating. Another option is, let's say somebody has a lot of equity in their home. There are home equity lines of credit that you can get, and the interest rates are really low. If you don't need the money, you don't have to borrow it. The closing costs are like $150. We just got one for a project. But if you don't use the money, you don't get charged anything. It can be a dilemma for some people, or maybe they don't qualify for both, but there are solutions. So option number 1 is sell the home. So when you go and make an offer on another home, and if your offer says, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I want to buy your home, but it's contingent on me selling this home, because the market has shifted in particular, that home seller is less likely to tie up their property in hopes that another home seller sells their home. They're just afraid of it. So we have solutions for that. If they're coming to us, we can guarantee the sale of their home so they can move up to your home, not contingent. But we also have a way to negotiate it in the contract where everybody gets a win-win. So we know exactly how to do that. It's what we do all the time. And if you just, that's what happened to this one buyer. He kept making offers contingent on his home selling, and he kept getting rejected. And that's why most people will reject the sale, the offer, if it is contingent on a home selling, because they don't like that uncertainty. And then what if you have not lined up your destination? If you really don't know where you're going to go, we could put certain protections in the contract in place to say, all right, we'll take your contract, we'll tie up the house, but you need to give us time to go shopping for our next home. Because the way the state contracts are designed, once a home seller commits to selling their home, there really is no way to back out of the contract for the seller. The buyer can ask for inspection repairs and they can withdraw them. The buyer can ask for appraisal concessions and they can withdraw them. So everything is in the buyer's court, but there's no way for the seller to go, you know what, I'm not going to do this, I'm out. And the reason why the state contracts are designed that way is, let's say a house goes under contract and 2 weeks later, somebody else comes along and says, hey, I'll give you more money. Well, you can't go get rid of buyer number 1 because somebody else is offering you more money. There are always buyers that are late to the party. It seems like every time a property goes under contract, everybody wants it. It's kind of fun. Option 3 is to make your offer contingent on your home selling. It is the most risky. It definitely puts a lot of pressure on the buyer and a lot more pressure on the seller, because now they got to worry about not just their buyer, but their buyer's buyer, right? So I had it happen recently. I think stories are the best way to describe this, Richard, where I had a listing. There were multiple offers on the house. But the seller was home for every showing. He got to meet every buyer that came through the house. And this one buyer he really liked. The buyer said everything right. He said, "Oh, hey, Mr. Seller, don't worry about fixing that. Don't worry about cleaning up that pile of wood over there. I'll take care of it." So he really liked him, right? And so his offer came in. It was the best offer. And they had me do this on the weekend. I prefer to make sure we're at least talking to the lender before I have sellers make a commitment, because I want to make sure they're fully vetted. So we drafted a counter. They said, yes, we want to counter this buyer. And I had not sent it yet. I should have sent it, but I didn't yet. And something was just bugging me. You know how Richard, in your world, you have things that just in your spidey sense, they're not right.
Yeah, something's not right here. I'm not sure what it is, but if
Yeah.
I search, I'm going to find it.
Yeah. So anyway, I had that feeling. So I called the lender, and by some miracle, the lender answered the phone on a Sunday, which normally they turn into pumpkins on the weekends. So he answered the phone, and I said, "Hey, I'm just curious, because the offer had a very, very low down payment for the type of loan. And I was wondering if this buyer was going to get down payment assistance." And so that was my question. And his answer was, "Well, no, he's fine, but he does have to sell a house to perform." So what was shocking to me was it wasn't in the very detailed pre-approval letter from the lender. And it also was not in the contract. The agent did not tell me that in order to perform, this buyer had to sell a house. Surprise, surprise. So
Surprise.
that's a bad surprise. So I called back the seller and said, "Hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to go forward with this buyer? You want to negotiate with one of the other ones?" And they said, "No, we're not going to do that. We're going to go with someone that is a sure thing." So they ended up getting a different buyer. Option number 4, special financing programs. So you can use the equity you have in your current home to buy your next home. So a lot of homes have equity, especially with the last 2 years, them going up, 10, 20%. So that's an option that you could actually pull your equity out of your current home to purchase your next home, then sell your existing home at your own pace. That's the most comfortable way to do it. I had a buyer about a year ago that did that. So what they did was they qualified for both the loan on their existing home and the house that they were purchasing. They were only short the down payment. So they went with this one lender that actually has this thing called a recast, where they purchase their next home using the equity that they have in their existing home with a down payment. And then as soon as their house sells, they pull that equity out, put that money down on their existing loan, and they do what's called a recast. They don't have to refinance. It's just a small fee, and they readjust the payments with a new down payment. That's a really fabulous program. So that's some of the stuff that we do. And when we come back, Richard, we're going to talk about some more solutions we have for those home sellers that have to sell a house before they buy their next home. You can always go to barbhasthebuyers.com, look at my website. There's all kinds of options on there, or give us a call at 719-301-3900. Richard.
You're listening to The Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. If your home sold guaranteed realty, you can reach her at 719-301-3900. And we're talking with Barb about how sellers can trade up to a new home. A lot of people have questions about this. It is the catch-22. Barb, what are some other things that a seller can do if they need to sell a house before they buy that next one?
Well, Richard, there are some people that don't want to deal with all the buyers traipsing through their house. They don't want to deal with, making the house look pretty. They don't want to deal with any of that. And we have options for them as well. Call us. We can actually get you a cash offer on your home. There are dozens of investors that we have connections to that are making cash offers on homes. Now, you may not get full price. You may not get the full market value, but you'll get the convenience of being able to sell your home for cash, not worry about inspections, not worry about agent drama, not worry about buyer drama, not worry about Mr. Inspector, calling out your whatever cosmetic things in the house. And so those are good options, and they're not horrible. Like, the automatic assumption is if you get a cash buyer, that these offers are going to come in just like steal the house from you. And that's really not the case. They're pretty decent offers. We also have cash investors that are purchasing buy and hold real estate. They actually make even stronger offers, sometimes asking price, sometimes over asking price. And they're looking for tenants to place in the home after they purchase. And then another option is if you don't have to sell a house in order to buy your next home, this is the best case scenario, to go buy your next home first, move at your pace, and then sell your home. It's a lot less stressful to do that. Yeah, you may have a loan on your new home temporarily, and that's fine. As soon as your house sells, boom, you pay it off. And then you can hire us to guarantee the sale of your home. So we offer a upfront home sale guarantee. There are some conditions to the guarantee. But the reason why we do it is that we know that 80% of the buyers out there have a home to sell, and most real estate agents don't have a solution. So we can actually, if they use us, guarantee the sale of their home so they can buy your home non-contingent. And the way it works is we establish a price, you receive an upfront offer, and unlike just getting one offer from like Open Door, OfferPad, you have options. People want certainty and they want options. In other words, we can help you get the highest price for your home. And it's confidential. There's no risk selling. You don't get stuck with two homes. And it solves that problem. So it also helps you get the most money for your home, because that's really what we want. We're not necessarily in the business of going out and buying homes. We want you to get the most amount of money, but we can do it if we have to. Richard?
Barb, you and your team are the only company that I would recommend to people out there who are thinking about selling their homes, downsizing to a smaller home. They get more information by giving you a call at 719-301-3900. And you're listening to the Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. She is the voice, and she's the host of the program as well. And if you're thinking of making that move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing pricing correctly so that you make thousands more when you sell your home. Plus, we'll talk about Barb's hot new listings. You don't want to miss any of that.